guys, it's Jessica, and today I'm going to share with you 5 rediscovered favorites from my collection. I'm kind of getting into that mindset of using products I already have, and while I still buy new products because that's my job, I like to review things. I've kind of felt recently, I'm like, you know, I've been buying a lot, and reviewing a lot, and I'm kind of like forgetting about my old favorites. And so these are 5 products I pulled together. I actually had more. I had like 8, maybe even 10 looking over there. But I decided, I was like, you know what are the top 5? Like 5 things that I'm like, oh my gosh, how could I forget this was so good? So I wanted to narrow it down, curate it a little bit, so that way it really is 5 products that I absolutely adore that I completely forgot, like I just have forgotten to use for some of these like a year. Like that's crazy. They've just been sitting in my collection. Some of them are recent repurchases because I just haven't had them in a long time. So we've got 2 drugstore, 3 high-end, kind of a mix, you know. Let's go ahead and get into it. So let's start with the drugstore. One rediscovered favorite will be no surprise to some of you. This is the Rimmel Lasting Finish. Now, some lovely Canadian subscribers have sent me ones with the pump in my shade, which is 100 Ivory. It's probably a little dark for me. Well, on camera, it looks pretty good. I don't have it on right now. Actually, just if you're curious, where do I have it? I have the new Rimmel, if I can find it, the new Rimmel Lasting Finish Breathable. So this is the original, this is the breathable. The breathable's okay. It's okay. I had to add a lot of powder foundation and other stuff to make all of this look okay. This stuff, however, oh my gosh, it's got such good coverage. I love that the Canadian ones have a pump. Thank you guys. But there's something about this. Like, I just love it. And I don't know why more people aren't talking about it. I always use a sponge. I've done it with the brush and it looks okay. It just looks better with the sponge. I love using my L'Oreal sponge. And it's just really good coverage. It looks so nice on the skin. It does have a smell that can bother. I mean, it's a strong smell. It's one that it kind of took me a little while to get used to, and I wish it didn't have that smell. I like it now because I have gotten used to it, and now I can connect it to this foundation that I love. But it wears so beautifully throughout the day, and it doesn't seem to matter what primer I'm wearing. So that's one that I rediscovered. I bought another one of and started talking about, and then like I said, a lot of you guys have sent me ones with a pump. So it's so awesome. Another one, this is from Essence. So this is their Lash Princess Mascara. I had talked about this for months and months and months. I loved it so much, like a year ago, maybe even a year and a half ago. And then I started getting into some other ones, and then I discovered the Maybelline Lash Paradise. Or is that L'Oreal? What brand makes Lash Paradise? I genuinely can't think of it. Is it L'Oreal? I don't even think I have one right now, which is actually really sad because it is my favorite. But anyway, I love that stuff, but it dries out so quickly. So finally I was like, you know what, Jessica? You have a backup of this. It was brand new, so I opened it. Day 1 of opening it, my lashes were curled and black and defined and lengthened. I mean, everything you want in a mascara, this does at, you know, under $5. This mascara is so good. I specifically like the one with the lime green or the mint green, the false lash effect, because they have a couple Lash Princesses. This is my favorite. And the packaging is actually really cute. So the wand is more of a natural bristle wand, just kind of tapers to a point. I mean, it's very simple, but it is so good. It's so good. I love it. So I'm so glad that this is back in my life again. And this one doesn't dry out nearly as quickly as that Lash Paradise, which is very nice. Saves you some money. Another rediscovery are the, well, I'll do this one. This is the Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder. This thing is so dirty. I've like had this for so long. I've used it to death for a long time, and like I said, I just kind of forgot about it. It's probably about half gone now because I've been using it like crazy. So I've realized something. I used to use this with a sponge, and what I use it for is my under eye. So I'll put on my concealer, blend it in, and then those little areas where I have my little fine lines and crinkles, I used to take my, you know, damp sponge, dip it in this, and put it on there and kind of bake and then brush it away. That looked pretty good. But I stopped using it because I was like, you know, I feel like I don't really need all of that. I feel like it's a lot. Well, I finally, recently, have started to kind of blend in, get the concealer out of the fine lines, and then I'll just use a small brush and just kind of go in that area. It brightens it. It fills in those areas so that your concealer is not as easily going to creep into those fine lines. Now, anytime I'm putting a powder on my under eye, it's going to age you a little bit. But this does it the least amount, especially with the loose powder. I've tried many under eye setting products, whether it's like a pressed powder or a loose powder. So many of them look crazy. But this is one that I've recently fallen back in love with because it really does a nice job of brightening and kind of setting that area, but it doesn't make me look crazy old. I wish I'd used it today. Today I used another new product from, it's the Essence Brighten Up Powder, and I do not like it. It really ages me. If you could see it up close, you'd be like, oh my gosh. But I love this stuff so much. So another rediscovered favorite are these CoverFX custom cover drops. I actually just bought another shade on Haute Look for half off because they'll have random brands on there, 50% off. I can link it below. So I had originally bought N10, you know, long ago from Sephora or Ulta, wherever. So the idea of this is it's just a multi-use pigment drop. So it's a very thin formula. You usually shake it up. They have lots and lots of colors. And the idea is that it can help you either create your own foundation by maybe like taking a moisturizer and putting this in it and rubbing that all over. But the way I use it is actually to change the color of foundation. So a lot of foundations are either too light or too dark for me. So it's a very thin formula, highly pigmented. I mean, I could just keep going and that would just keep covering. So like using this alone, I wouldn't recommend. Like I don't think I've ever done that. But I like to mix it with the foundation. I'll put like one drop in, kind of mix it on my hand, see how it looks, maybe add another if I need to lighten it a little bit more. So that's what I use N10 for. And it does such a nice job. And I forgot I own these and they were kind of hidden in a corner of my drawer. And I'm constantly frustrated, like, oh, I ordered the wrong shade, blah, blah. Well, then I was like, wait a minute. What are you doing, Jessica? Or like, oh, this is just a little bit too dark, but they don't have a shade that works for me. I'm like, Jessica, that's literally why you own these. So I have used these so much the past few months because it like empowered me to be able to use all these foundations that I forgot I could totally use if I could just adjust the shade. So I bought another one, like I said, these were half off on Haute Look, and this one's darker, it's N25, and I figured this would be good for my skin tone, for darkening a, ooh, I should have shaken that up. Definitely shake them up. For darkening maybe a foundation that's just way too light. Now, it's pretty rare to get some that are too light for me, but I figured since it was half off, I would probably still use it enough to make it worth it. Because there are some lines that like, they'll have two shades near me, but one's way too light and one's way too dark. And anyway, so I figured that's pretty good. I could probably mix these two colors and get like the perfect shade if I really wanted to as well. So do I think you need more than one? Not really. If you know that typically the foundations you get are just a little too dark, then get one lighter for, you know, there's a lot you can do, but the versatility and power you have with these, I think, is amazing, and it makes it absolutely worth it. But I don't think you need more than one. I'm just a brat, and I wanted to. Last rediscovered favorite, and this was actually rediscovered because some of you guys had commented on like Instagram or something, I don't even remember, maybe even Snapchat, asking like, hey Jessica, do you still use those? Do you recommend them? And it's these Kevyn Aucoin sculpting powders. So my original love was the one in medium, and it's like a contour powder, very cool gray tone. And there it is there. It's like it's been a makeup artist fave for a long time. It blends really well. It stays on the skin. It's the perfect tone if you're my skin tone. Well, then he came out with a light. And it's just a little bit lighter. Again, still a contour powder. But what I've realized is it's not that this is the light one. It's less that it's lighter. It's more that it's just a totally different tone. And the more I've swatched them next to each other, the more I've realized it. But I still love both of these powders. Now, if I were to recommend one, I think I'm always torn. But the medium one really is more cool tone, and the light really is more warm. Yeah, it's just kind of interesting to me. And the more I think about it, I'm like, you know, that kind of defeats the purpose. Anyway. Regardless, you got to know your own skin tone to decide, but I think, like, if I lost both of these and I repurchased one, I think I would probably repurchase the medium, just because it really, when I'm looking for this, I'm not looking for a warm tone bronzer. I really am. If I'm reaching for this, I really want a gray toned contour. So that's something to kind of keep in mind with those, but they stay on really well throughout the day. They're so beautiful. They blend so well. If I ever get too much on, I'll grab, like if I used a sponge to get ready that morning, I'll grab that with that little bit of leftover foundation and just kind of blend that area, and it looks so beautiful. You could also blend it in with like some powder foundation because that would add just a little bit more coverage to make the area look more seamless and less maybe splotchy. But I don't notice that these products look splotchy anyway, but you know, you never know. It could depend on the primer you had underneath or the foundation if it's not super high coverage, whatever. So those are my recent 5 rediscovered favorites. If you'd like me to do this kind of video maybe more often, I would love to, because I'm sure that every few months I'd be able to pull out some products that I'm using again that I used to love. And it's just a nice way to breathe some life into some products that I have had for a long time, but that I genuinely use and love now again. So I would love for any of you guys to do this kind of video. If you do, definitely let me know. I'd love to watch it. And I hope you'll subscribe before you leave, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.